I agree.
I do too.
I canceled all the other meetings, that's CMDC.
Whatever.
We're going to go along with this.
Sometimes they postpone.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
Relax.
Okay, everyone. We're going to call the Planning Commission meeting to order and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Sally, can you help us with the roll call, please?
Certainly. Mayor Kent Atwell.
Present.
Alderperson Tim Eicher.
Here.
Dave Greenway.
Here.
Dan Jaschinski.
Here.
Laura Schultz.
Here.
Bob Weiler.
Here.
Planner Amy Barrows is here, and Ed Merrick and Jim Ryer are absent.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, item number 1, approve Planning Commission meeting minutes of July 29th, 2020 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. City of Delafield citizens' comments pertaining to subjects on the consent agenda. Any citizens' comments for items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, citizens' comments for the consent agenda are now closed. Item number 3, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. The 2 applicants on the consent agenda, you are approved and free to go, unless you'd like to stay and listen to our other topic of the day. So that's the Suter Development. Suter Development and Gene Mulvaney. Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to item number 4. City of Delafield citizens' comments pertaining to items on or off the agenda. Are there any citizens' comments for items on or off the agenda? Hearing none, citizens' comments are now closed. We'll move on to item number 5, unfinished business. We have none. Item 6, new business. DLC 0756.996.0033041 Oakwood Road. Owner, Oakwood Church applicant, Paul Butler. Bauer Sign and Lighting Company Incorporated. Applicant seeks approval of a permanent signage to replace an existing freestanding monument sign with a new illuminated sign. The applicant's here, I think. If you guys want to come up to the microphones. And if you can give us your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Paul Butler. I'm with Bauer Sign and Lighting. We're in New Berlin, Wisconsin.
I'm Don Douglas, Facilities Manager of Oakwood Church, 3041 Oakwood Road.
Great, thank you very much. Amy, you want to give us an overview?
Sure. Okay, this is the property in the northwest corner of the intersection of 83 and Oakwood Road, known as Oakwood Church. Property is zoned P1, public and institutional, and it's institutional on the land use plan. The church was approved several... Oh.
Is your mic on? Or you've got it tucked under your blouse?
Excuse me. Okay, should be good. The church was part of a CU when it was constructed many years ago. As part of that CU, there was a condition, it's in the staff report, related to signage, and a monument sign, which there is one out there currently, is acceptable on the property, subject to it having masonry materials that match the masonry on the building. And they are proposing the monument sign. It's 86.6 square feet. There's a vinyl face, and then there's some aluminum reveal and cabinet. I guess I should go to that real quickly here. So those panels, it almost looks like that's an electronic messaging center panel in blue, but it's not. That's they would prefer to have one of those, but they're not allowed to in this corridor of the city. So they are proposing 10 different panels that will all be internally lit with LED lights that they will have to slide in and out. And it's a 2-sided sign, so it'll actually be 20 panels, 10 different types, 2 at a time will be in there. So they don't have all of the panels designed at this time. This is an example of what you may see. And so the condition for approval does require that they just drop in those panels for us to review as staff at the city to make sure that they are reasonable in content. But they will be internally lit with the LED lighting. The signage does comply with all setbacks. The original proposal did not include any landscaping around the sign. So I think that might be in my report that there is no landscaping proposed, but they did drop off a plan that shows a couple of arborvitae on the sides and then some spirea in front of and back of the signage. And I guess the only thing with that is I would make sure the spirea does appear to be low growing, but the panels, the face of the sign is pretty low to the ground as well, so you want to make sure you don't cover the face of the sign. And then I don't know if the arborvitae will actually block, because is that going to face 83? The arborvitae plants that you're proposing, I'm not, is that going to face 83? One of them? Kind of, is it more at an angle like the existing sign?
As you're looking at it, it would be perpendicular with 83. So one of those would be closer to 83 and one would be opposite.
Right, okay.
Are those like, is that something that we can change the plan?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it here tonight. It's just an awkward location in that if they put too high of landscaping or the wrong landscaping, you won't see the signage. So I think it's something you should definitely think about.
Just as low as possible on there.
The deer are gonna eat that anyway. I mean, they might like the light to light up their lunch, you know?
Yeah, they like arborvitae.
They
I don't know
really-
about spirea.
No, spirea
No,
is probably
spirea.
good.
Those have more of a thorny,
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like
But
it.
arborvitae,
like a Japanese hue or something that's lower, and that can be nice and trim. And they do have sort of a thorny needle, and I don't think they'll like to bite on those.
I think on the,
Our current sign right now that's set back from it does have some grasses on that, that when they go so high,
yeah.
that might be something better than the arborvitae's.
Your current sign is nicely landscaped. I think want you to get landscaping that works and is nice, right? That's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I think if you put the spirea on the two ends or something similar, that would be fine. So the staff report does, and I did talk to Paul from Bauer Sign about illumination. It is internally lit. And Paul can speak to this more. Apparently, the lighting is so dim that they don't really have documentation that they comply with the standards because it is so minimal and they're pretty far off of all of the roads and the property lines. But you do need to comply with the ordinance, so just keep that in mind. That will, if that becomes a problem, we'll have to come out and address it.
We can adjust it as well, with certain, you put filters on there. The Oakwood Church, those are, the top part is routed out aluminum. So it's not gonna, it's not gonna be transparent at all. The Oakwood Church is the only part, the font or the lettering is the only part that's gonna illuminate. Okay, that and the leaf up in the upper left-hand corner. So I would say that to be, that's very.
Sure.
The ordinance is just trying to keep it from being a beacon, right? We want you to be able to read it in the dark. We just don't want it to be
It's no more
beacon.
than it's what they call a daisy chain of LEDs. It's no more than you find in almost any cabinet. It's not more or
Yep.
less. It's
Yep, as long as we can comply with the 0.3 foot candles from the required distance, we'll be good.
All right, not a problem.
So the report recommends approval, subject to staff review of the panels.
And landscaping, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at this landscape plan. If you could just replace the arborvitae, I think would be best with the spirea. Submit a new plan, and we'll put that in the file as the approved plan. Or you can choose something else, but low growing seems to be a better fit.
Right, and I'll be honest with you, that's up to the church. I mean, the volunteers and everybody, they're going to be the ones out there.
I see them out there taking care of it. on very hot days. They do a nice job.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're not gonna get anything too crazy or too high, because obviously they're investing in the sign, it would be crazy for them to put something there that would block it.
Yeah,
So they can see.
or not be attractive.
Correct.
Go ahead.
And it's a beautiful building, it's a beautiful church.
Go ahead.
So one question I have procedurally, so we're talking about a submission of 10 total panels that are double set and 20 total signage that's going to come to us at a future date?
Is that correct? Because that sounds different than what I understood. Are there 10 total panels
actually
and
got it.
5 messages?
We got
No.
a quote from him for 10, just to see what that would cost.
Total
Okay.
panels with 5
All right,
messages, or
10.
So it'd be 10 messages.
10 messages, 20 panels.
Okay.
Okay.
Double sided, okay.
Got it, thanks.
So my question is, and they're gonna change, there's gonna be different activities at the church in the future.
Right, with the holidays.
And so I don't want them to necessarily have to, would they normally have to pay a new sign application fee if they're updating their sign
So
going in
we're-
the future? Because I mean, I don't want to put them through that.
We talked about this as a staff, and we're trying to avoid that, so we understand what their goal is here, but that they just bring them into staff to make sure that it doesn't get super outlandish and bright and have lots of, what do you want to call it, graphics or what have you. So it was intended to be a staff review.
All right, because, and frankly, I think it's a smart sign. I mean, it looks clean. And I think it's going to do a lot better than an electronic message board anyway, even though you said you wanted that. I mean, yeah, it is easy to change the message, but they just look nice. I mean, you're going to be able to advertise things that you want to get done. And I don't know if it's going to cost more money long term, but I like the design. And I don't want you to have to pay sign application fees every time you want to have a new service or offering or community event or something like that. So.
And I think the idea would be,
approving
like,
it.
when they submit those 10 panels, if in the future they needed to change something and it was similar-minded to those panels, I think that would be reasonable. We just didn't have any idea with only seeing the one.
I guess the comment
As you and I had talked.
I have on that is if it was a variable message board, we don't approve every message that goes on those, do we?
That's a good point.
So my thought right away was why,
Why are we doing
If
these? We
this
do
is-
control time, duration.
but not the message?
Yeah, I think we.
So
There's a
that's,
little wording in there, but generally you're
that's
you're
my
correct.
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if so every time they go to a different panel, they got to submit it here?
there's no sign. There's no sign program as a part of this with approved colors or whatever. So I don't know why we would subject them to.
No, statutes actually prohibit you from regulating the messaging of it. So I think we were just concerned about how much content was there, if it would get too busy or wild.
And a solution, if I may offer, when we talk with the church, with Julian about the message, whether it's a Christmas holiday, Easter, whatever this particular event might be, they're gonna give me information, we're gonna send it to our graphic department, like that sign right there, and produce that, and we're gonna send them a proof or a rendering, if you will. I can CC you on every single one.
That sounds easy.
Right, it's too easy. You'll see it, they'll see it, and, if we have to tweak it, I'll make sure you're copied on everything. It's that simple.
And no fees.
What?
No fees.
No fee.
Sounds good.
I'll be fine, I'll be.
Dave?
Question. Can you just replace the landscaping that's there?
This is a different
They're
location.
moving it to slightly
Well, it's a
different
lo-
location.
Yeah.
Right, different location, but
Transplanted.
whatever is there, put it here.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into
Transplant.
bushes and
You're just suggesting you could save costs by moving the existing
Just move the
landscape?
plants that are there.
Because we plan on taking that whole mound, where the old sign is, out, and we can reuse those grasses.
There you go.
um,
Saves money.
Especially for the two sides, and then we would just buy some small views or whatever.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Otherwise, we'd be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve the Oakwood Church signage, subject to submitting each panel to staff for review and approval, and doing that prior to a building permit issuance.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing the new sign. And that wasn't too bad, was it?
Good job.
Okay, we will move on to item 7, zoning and ordinance revisions. There are none. Report of city clerk, officials, clerk, planning commission meeting dates and deadlines. Next meeting is September 30th, 2020. Meeting submittal deadline is September 15th, 2020. I'll refer you to correspondence if there is any, which I don't think there is. 8B, planner, any report?
The only thing I would say, at the last meeting, we talked about how some code amendments will come through in the future. Scott was unable to make the meeting, and the first topic that we'll be talking about, special exceptions, I thought it was important for him to be here, so that's just going to be delayed until September.
Great, thank you very much. Building inspector is not here. Seeing no further business, number 9, the meeting is now adjourned at 7:15.